To manage sheet issues and revisions, switch to the View tab. Then, in the Sheet Composition panel, click Revisions. This opens the Sheet Issues Revisions dialog. You can add rows to this table to create issues or revisions. Revisions are typically tied to clouds and tags, and issues are not. But you can use the functionality to really do whatever you want and use the sheet issues and revisions in a way that meets the needs of your project. By default, there is one row in the table. For each row, you can control the numbering. The options are alphanumeric, numeric, and none. I'll select numeric, and also be aware that you can customize the numbering. In the Customize Numbering area, click the Numbering button to open a dialog where you can create a customized sequence. For example, in this exercise there are 2, and if I select alphanumeric, I can then click Edit Numbering Sequence to open a dialog where we can customize the sequence. And here you can see the available options, and you can create a new sequence and customize it as needed. I'll click OK to close each of these dialogues, and then we'll continue on here with our issue. So the numbering is set to numeric, and then you can specify the date and give it a description. For example, I'll enter issued for construction. And then once the revision or issue has actually been issued, you can select issued. But for now, I'm going to leave that deselected. And then you can specify who it's issued to and who it's issued by. And then in the show column, you can choose cloud and tag, tag, or none. So I'm going to select none for this example. And then I'm going to add another row. And I'm going to leave the numbering the same. And for the description, I'm going to call it revision 1. And then under show, I'm going to leave it set to cloud and tag. Additionally, be aware that you can control the numbering method. And so right here, this is the numbering sequence here in this column, but to the right, there is a numbering method here, and this can either be per project or per sheet. And so when we have it set to per project, then we're going to be using the revision number that appears here in this dialog. If we change it to per sheet, then it's going to be based on the revisions that appear on the sheet. So maybe you have 5 to 10 rows here in this table, but you only have 2 or 3 placed on a sheet. Then those are going to be numbered based on the order that they are placed on the sheet. All right, you can also move revisions up and down. So after they are created, you can move them up, you can move them down, you can even merge revisions. You can merge it with the revision above or merge it with the revision below, depending on how many you have and what you have selected here in the table. I'm going to click OK to close the dialog, and then I'm going to open the ground floor overall view, and I'm simply going to place a revision cloud, and I can do that by switching to the Annotate tab, and in the Detail panel, click Revision Cloud. And with this tool active, you can use any of the options in the Draw Gallery to sketch a revision cloud. So I'll simply leave rectangle selected, and then before I create a revision cloud, I always want to check the revision here in the Properties palette. This is the revision that the cloud is going to be assigned to. So I'm going to select revision 1, and then I'm simply going to sketch a rectangle. And notice that as I sketch the rectangle, the cloud is created in a rectangular method based on what I sketched. And then I'll click Finish Edit Mode, and I'm going to go ahead and tag that. So I'm going to activate the Tag by Category tool, and I'll deselect Leader, and then I will place the Revision Cloud tag. Then I'll click Modify to end the command. Now, when I go back to the sheet that the view is placed on, and I zoom in to the revision schedule in the title block, you can see that Revision 1 appears. And you can see the cloud and tag where we placed it. So when you place a revision cloud and it's assigned to a revision, then that revision will appear in the title block. If you want additional issues to appear, then you can look in the Properties palette and scroll down to the bottom to the Revisions on Sheet parameter and click Edit. And this opens the Revisions on Sheet dialog. And now we can select to show the first issue that we created, which is issued for construction, and then click OK. And now both of those appear in our revision schedule. So once again, a lot of flexibility there with how you choose to create sheet issues and revisions. Let's go back to the Sheet Issues Revisions dialog. And then we're going to issue one of these by simply clicking the checkbox in the Issued column. And when we do, be aware that all of the information becomes dim and it's no longer available to be adjusted. Also, we can no longer merge any revision we have with a issue or revision that has been issued. So as you can see here for Sequence 2, we can no longer merge it with Sequence 1 because that has been issued already. So you need to be aware of that. So I'll click OK to close the dialog. And once again, to access the dialog to control which issues or revisions appear in the title block, you need to look at the instance properties for the sheet. Look for Revisions on Sheet and then click Edit. And that's where you can control which revisions or issues to show in your title block.